It's been a busy few months since they wrapped up the final part of Tales from the Far Territory in December. And they shipped the final parts to the Switch in March, which is nice. Sorry, getting that mic move there. We've been working on a variety of things in the studio, so they wanted us to update us. Episode 5. This is the most important one, I think, because I think a lot of people have been very, very frustrated, let's just say, with the amount of time it's taken to get the episode 5 out. I like that picture, though. That's a very cool picture. Episode work is ongoing. I know you're all wanting more specific updates, but we're really trying to avoid spoilers, so we won't be sharing much in detail about the episode until the first teaser. So I'm hoping the first teaser comes out soon. That would be fantastic if the first teaser came out, sometime very soon. That'd be really, really cool. I will say the episode is the most ambitious we've built so far. It has quite a few systems we haven't used in other episodes. So it's providing quite a challenge to the team. We would feel the weight. We also feel the weight of anticipation and need to ensure we ship something of the highest quality. We know many of you, like us, have been waiting 40 years for the story to be completed. Yes, 40 years. And once it's done, we can never go back. So it's really on our minds. The episode can't just be good. It has to be great. Love that look of that lighthouse, too. That is really cool. I hope that's actually like an actual lighthouse in the game. That'd be really neat. To clarify the episode's scope for you, episode 5 has between 2 and 3 times as much cinematic and story content as episode 4, which is our largest episode to date. And episode 4 was really, really huge. Hey, Metal Mermaid, how you doing? Episode 4 was, episode 3 was big, and then episode 4 was even bigger. That means episode 5 is probably, it's going to be like, think of episode 5 like Cooking 5. Where it takes as much to get from 1 to 4 as it does to get to 4 to 5. So I have a feeling episode 5 is going to be larger than all the other episodes combined. Which is good bang for our buck, I guess. So that's pretty cool. The game world you'll be playing is about 3 to 4 times as big as episode 4. There are a lot of story threads to tie up across all episodes to wrap up the Wintermute storyline, but also to set the stage for the future of Long Dark. So we have to take you into several different places and hear from a lot of new people. Because of what the story needs, we focused on narrative more than we have traditionally, and the mission flow for episode 5 is probably more linear than previous episodes as a result. Which, linear isn't bad. I mean, there's certain games where linear is actually good. Especially, I think a lot of it just comes down to, is the story going to be good? Because if the story's good, linear doesn't matter. You will happily follow along a linear story if the story is good. And I think it probably will be. Based on what we saw in episode 4, I think episode 5 will be pretty dang good. Yeah, and it's got a lot of loose ends to tie up. There's a lot of threads. We've been playing as Will. We've been playing as Astrid. They've sort of taken their own paths so far, and now those paths are going to have to meet, cross, and sort of be, tied up one way or the other. The episode will take you through many new locations, and everything in the episode is new to the game and the world. So these will all be places you've never seen before. And this final episode of the story has you both playing as Mackenzie and Astrid, and you'll also be seeing some of the key characters from previous episodes, so there's a lot. We're also using new motion capture tech for our team to attempt to deliver even higher bar for story delivery than we've achieved so far. These are all things that exist outside of the context of survival mode, although some of the work entails help set the foundation of some of the things we're attempting in episode 5. I can confidently say that episode 5 will be the most ambitious thing we've done in the Long Dark at Hinterland to date. I know that won't mean much to you until you have it in your hands, but hopefully that gives you some sense of ambition behind the episode. Hey, thank you, Abraham, for the 1,000 DOP. How have I been? Long time no see. I'm not doing super great, but that's just life some days, man. That's That's just how life goes. You gotta pick the moments where you're gonna be frustrated and kind of crash, and you gotta pick the moments where you're just gonna kind of push it all aside and push it down and push on forward. And yeah, I wish I could tell you it's been better, but the last month or so has been pretty bad. So, but hey, here's to a great May. We'll see. Hopefully May will be a lot better. Hopefully May will be a lot better. I was sold on the sandbox mode. Yeah, well, for me, Beetlebee, sandbox mode is what it's all about too. The story mode is a fun playthrough, but it's not like my main drive of playing Long Dark for sure. The one thing you want to note in here is that all the areas we're going to go in episode 5, according to this, are brand new. Which means probably Perseverance Mills is going to be in there. There's going to be other things in there, and I don't know, just in some of the stuff I've been reading, it doesn't seem like the zones, how we were sort of speculating that the Perseverance Mills was going to be in-game in survival. I'm not so sure at this point. Don't know at this point if that's going to be the fact. Raf's made some comments online, and there's been some other things I've seen that have sort of pointed to no. Those are probably not necessarily going to be out for survival mode. So, something to take into account. The majority of the development team at Hinterland is working on episode 5, with a smaller team working on Black Frost, so you can be sure this is our primary focus and will be until we ship it. In order to ensure the team has enough time to focus and finish the episode at our highest standard, we've asked them to work on it through the remainder of the year with a plan to launch towards the end of the year. So I was sort of thinking that was what it was going to be. Then you want to see that Raf message on the board, how Chapter 5 takes place in Lower Great Bear. All Chapter 5 takes place in Lower Great Bear. Yes, I did see that, JJ, actually. I sort of was looking through some of the forums and stuff and just kind of checking out, what Raf was saying about different things. So, hey, you got family. Hey, thanks, Kenneth. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. I've asked them to work through the remainder of the year with a plan to launch towards the end of the year, which means, like we were thinking, December-ish, probably. We are also pushing for other planned survival mode updates, see below, to ensure the team can focus all their efforts on... They're pushing out other planned survival updates to make sure that the team can focus all their efforts on episode 5. As we know how critical it is that we wrap this up and deliver a strong finale to the story. That's what we're focused on, so if we are heads down and you hear less from us than usual, that's why. We're just very, very busy. Which I get, but that's also why you have a communications person that they just communicate. Which they've always had a problem with, and I wish they would find a way to just communicate more. That's all they need to do is just communicate. The Tales from the Far Territory. Moving on from that, the Tales from the Far Territory is now complete. For any of you who've missed the news or have been holding off for the expansion pass to be complete, here's a reminder that all parts of the DLC are now complete and available on all platforms. While Tales ended up taking much longer than expected to complete, we're happy with how much we were able to add to the game. We also believe it's a tremendous value for the money. To showcase all the additional content and mechanics, we made this recap video. And there's the recap video there, which you can go and check out. I would recommend going and checking out, giving it a like. If you want to support our studio and our work, we hope you'll consider buying Tales. And if you aren't in a position to buy it now, keep an eye out for the various sales on Steam and consoles and grab it when discounted. We've also added quite a few free updates to the base game along with Tales, so you already have many of those even if you didn't buy Tales, including safe house customization. So lots of stuff they've added in. We're excited to announce the visual enhancements are finished. The visual enhancement builds are with the test team, so they can validate everything it's working well. Our plan is to release them in staggered patterns, starting with the PC first, then consoles. The team created a video to showcase the enhancements. I watched that, and it was actually really, really good. Click on the YouTube, click watch on YouTube on the video. When you watch it, make sure to like the button shows up. Yes. And I watched the enhancement thing, and it looks good. I mean, I like good visuals, don't get me wrong, but to me, gameplay is 80% visuals or 20%. You can have the most beautiful visuals in the world, and if the gameplay sucks, it don't matter. You can have really crappy graphics, and if the gameplay is amazing, nobody cares. It's one of those 80-20 kind of things where it's great to have them, don't get me wrong, and everybody likes them, but you got to have the gameplay first and foremost. That's the make it or break it. So I think the visuals are awesome too. I think it's a really nice upgrade, Beetlebee. But as I said, it's not to me the most important thing, just because, you know, they already have a great game. So, you know, having things like colored shadows and colored fog, it's like, okay, that's great, I guess, but does it really enhance my game as much? So, you know, but hey, that's great. You know, enhanced draw distances are nice because that's one thing that I do sort of like, because I've always noticed, you know, sometimes wolves just seem to appear somewhere. I wish they added a button to keep it as is. Didn't care for new graphics. Was too dark on your system. Keep in mind that by nature, most of the enhancements are targeted at high-end systems, so they will mainly apply to high-end PCs or top-end consoles. Our plan is to get the visual enhancements out to Steam and Epic Game Store by the end of May, with the console versions following in June. Well, it sounds like it's going to be optional though, Honora. Or Beetlebee. I wish they added a button to keep it as is. Well, I think you will have that though, because it sounds like they're mainly putting those towards high-end PCs. So you should be able to just kind of like turn them off or you know, throttle them or whatever. So I'm assuming that you won't have to use them if you don't want to. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series SX, with the visual enhancements for high-end systems now complete. We've taken this opportunity to properly bring Long Dark to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X systems. You should be getting these updates by mid to late June, which means July. Performing platform certification timings allowing, which means July. These versions of the game will come upgraded with visual enhancements so that there is a way to enjoy those enhancements if you play Long Dark on PlayStation or Xbox. Keep in mind you'll need to own one of the Generation 9 consoles to play the enhanced version of Long Dark, but don't worry, you can continue to play existing and unenhanced version on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One if you don't have the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series S or Series X. There will be additional information around how to migrate existing saves from the last gen to the current gen, which we'll share closer to release. They're probably trying to figure out how to make the next game better. Oh, I'm sure, Beetlebee, that a lot of the visual enhancement stuff is all coming from it's sort of like they're beta testing the visual enhancements for Black Frost in Long Dark. They're like, can we do this? How is it going to look? They're like already toying around with it, which is going to be kind of cool. I mean, that's kind of neat that they're, you know, you can sort of see that. And I'm sure once Black Frost comes out, we're going to see a lot of stuff and be like, oh, we saw that in Long Dark already. Oh, that was something they implemented, you know, 6 months ago in Long Dark. Going out to buy an upgraded PC. I wouldn't have to worry about that. I wouldn't worry about that. You can still play it on the old settings. So that's going to be May before we have to even look at that. Now here's one that I found that was interesting: the cooking with ruined food and trader rebalancing. We recently made a change to the game that prevents ruined food items from being used as ingredients in cooking. Well, there's a few glitches you can use to get around that. This was an intentional change, as using ruined items went against the philosophy of the game in general. You can't generally use ruined clothing or gear items, so why food? But we recognize that this introduced some issues for people who were locked out of certain recipes, because in long-term survival games, some ingredients might already have been ruined by the time you found them, with no real viable way to replace them, which is something we've talked about a bunch while we've been playing Long Dark. We will be releasing a hotfix to address part of this issue by rebalancing some of the condition decay rates on specific food items, in particular canned goods and fresh meat or fish, which honestly, the fresh meat or fish I'm just kind of puzzled by, because it's like, just go kill more animals or catch more fish. The canned goods, I get. The canned goods, flour, the canned goods, the, peaches, corn, that sort of stuff. That I kind of get. But meat and fish, whatever. This will buy players more time to process harvest food from hunting and fishing to ensure it has longevity, but without hoarding tons of fish or meat that you can't realistically process or store. You'll need to plan your hunting and fishing activities accordingly. With things like salt added to the game, you now have new options for preserving meat and fish long term. We've also added some rare food items required for some of the more complex recipes, canned peaches, as trade items with Sutherland. Yeah, taters and carrots are the big ones. I mean, yeah. Which I don't see listed here, which I think is hilarious. We also tuned some of the costs to make them a little bit more accessible and worthwhile for you. So even if you end up in a game where most of a certain type of ingredient no longer exists in your game, you should be able to trade with Sutherland to get it. So maybe carrots and taters will become tradable with Sutherland. That'd be kind of nice. These fixes will be added to the same update that adds the visual enhancements to your game. So if you're playing PC, you should see the changes later in May, and console in June. Switch crashes. For you who play on Switch, this is probably something important to check out. Some of our Switch players have encountered game crashes since we released parts 5 and 6 of Tales back in February. The dev team was able to isolate the issue to a memory-related crash when playing in docked mode. To fix it, we introduced some dynamic resolution scaling for certain regions, but only in docked mode. This fix should not impact handheld play, and even for docked, the impact should not be visible. It's a solution we've used for other very large regions in the base survival game, like Pleasant Valley. So if you've been playing docked Switch in the base game region so far and been happy with how the game looks and performs, you should still be happy after this change. The Switch specific fix has been approved by Nintendo, and we're expecting to launch Monday, April 28th. So that should be out already. So that I don't know if they actually fulfilled that date, but that should be out already by time of us looking at this right now. Quality of life update. We had planned to release a quality of life update with new content for the trader and safe house customization, as well as some gameplay balance, tuning, bug fixes, etc. before we shipped episode 5, but the team felt stretched too thin between this work and completing episode 5, so I've decided to push this update off till episode 5 ships. So that's going to be, yeah, that kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. That means a lot of the bugs and stuff, those aren't going to be fixed until, like, December. Yeah, January to March of next year. Switch has been updated, Charles? Nice, okay. So they did get the Switch update in. That's good to know. So that means that, I hadn't read that through completely and thought about it. So, yeah. Gameplay balance tuning, bug fixes. That's the main thing. The bug fixes and the balance tuning. Okay, well, I guess we'll see what happens. Yeah, bugs still an issue. Mod support and enhanced custom settings. The team has done some work towards these features, but as with the quality of life update, it was splitting focus. Okay, so they pushed mod support and enhanced custom until after episode 5 as well. What's after episode 5? That's a great question. And it even starts. That's a great question. Shipping episode 5 will be a big inflection point for Long Dark. It's been years in the making, and in most ways, the completion of the Wintermute story mode represents the end of Long Dark. I'm writing the end in quotes because we still intend to continue updating the game, but completing story mode has been a point of accountability for Hinterland all these years. With the story mode finished, we are looking forward to having some breathing room to figure out next steps and continue to do our work without the weight of the big promise hanging over us, which is great. Hey, Soggy Cereal. I hope they fix the Joplin bunker bug soon. Unfortunately, Soggy Cereal, it sounds like it's going to be next year before the bugs are fixed. According to what they said here. Until after episode 5 ships, with episode 5 shipping end of this year. Ugh. So for a little while at least, we're going to think about shipping. We're going to think about shipping episode 5 and finishing Wintermute as the end. We'll have delivered on our promises, lived up to our obligations, and hopefully you'll be happy with the results and feel it was worth the wait. Beyond that, we have to make some choices about what to do with the game, and we'll be interested to hear your thoughts about what you'd like to see. I'll probably share a community survey around this before the end of the year, along the lines of the one we did before we committed to building Tales. This survey will give you a chance to influence the future of the Long Dark. As mentioned, there will definitely be at least one more quality of life update, including custom settings, mod support, and we've also promised Hunted Part 3. That I'm excited about. Hunted Part 3 has been a long time coming. A long time coming. For those of you who've played Hunted Part 1 and 2, you know what happens at the end of Hunted Part 2. I want to see what happens in Hunted Part 3. Beyond that, we have many ideas of how we could keep supporting and expanding the Long Dark into the future. But we don't want to do that without consulting with you and figuring out what you'd like to see and how you'd like to continue supporting the game. It costs a lot of money to run a studio like Hinterland, and we've invested a lot in the Long Dark and its sequel, Black Frost, over the years. So our focus will be on how to continue building games and supporting them for years to come, in a financially sustainable way that's safe and fair to our team. And all this against the backdrop of ongoing industry turmoil has seen a lot of our friends and fellow independent studios shut down over the last couple of years. Not to mention the dark economic clouds on the global horizon. Oh God. We wouldn't want to move ahead without you being part of the journey. So we want to hear what you'd like to see more of, whether it's regions, mechanics, more story. The survey will include all kinds of questions around this. What's exciting is there are many paths we can take, including really ambitious stuff and the more modest but sustainable stuff. And we really want to find a healthy way to continue supporting the Long Dark and keep you playing in this world for years to come, along with some of our other work, which brings me to my next topic. Maybe after 5 will lead to a Long Dark 2 when it comes out in 2027. Well, speaking of Black Frost, here we are. I imagine many of you noticed the launch announcement for Black Frost: The Long Dark 2 at the Game Awards in December. There was a lot of excitement about this from many of you, as well as some understandable questions about, but how can you announce a sequel before the current game's finished? I thought it might be helpful to talk about why we did this. Well, they did it because it was the Game Awards, and it was a good time to put out a trailer that would get people excited for another game. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's not... I guess to me, it's not rocket science. You want to get people... As you're wrapping up a certain project, you want to get people excited for the next project. Don't ask questions. Consume product. Get excited for next product. Larger companies with multiple revenue streams or publisher-backed or owned studios who don't have to pay their own bills can afford to have extensive downtime, often years between projects. Those years are spent working on new things in anticipation of launching them in the future. During those periods, the studios are being paid out of development funds provided by the publisher or investment or payroll from a parent company. But most often the studios aren't generating meaningful revenue during that time. Hinterland, though, is an independent studio, and our annual costs are covered out of the revenue from the Long Dark and DLCs like the Tales from the Far Territory. It wouldn't be feasible for us to go dark for 2 to 3 years in between finishing Long Dark and launching a sequel, because we generate revenue from sales of the game to new players, and that's what keeps our studio going. Also, since we only charge once for things we make and don't have extensive DLC or other ongoing revenue streams, we'd simply go out of business if we didn't release something within a reasonable distance of wrapping up Long Dark. So we need to build up new projects at the same time as we continue shipping and supporting our existing game. Pretty much what I said. Another factor is that it's a lot harder to bring an audience to a sequel if you've lost them along the way. Our hope by continuing to update Long Dark at the same time as we're building Black Frost is to show that your time commitment to the first game has not been in vain. You can still play it and enjoy it well into the future as we build up Black Frost, and after Black Frost ships in early access, in between updates there, you'll be able to bounce back to Long Dark to continue experiencing the quiet apocalypse. This way you can keep playing in this larger world we're building for you, and you can continue investing your time knowing the game will always be there for you. It doesn't have to be one or the other. And then over time, gradually, we'll put a larger proportion of our time and resources into building up Black Frost, as it will also need the same focus and dedication behind it that the Long Dark has had for over 10 years. But see both games supporting each other, and the player community behind both games will be part of a blended community who loves the broader idea of the Long Dark as a setting and the quiet apocalypse that unites the games. It's also really important that independent studios have the opportunity to gradually build up excitement around new projects, which I definitely agree with. I mean, being a small studio, they have to get you excited for that next thing, and hopefully get you to, get into the alpha or the beta, test or whatever it is, early on, just to keep the money flow going. We don't have massive marketing budgets to promote our games with. We sell directly to you, and our relationship is directly with you. Powerful systems like wish lists on Steam are a great way for studios to generate anticipation for their projects and gather goodwill and interest, with some hope and expectation of converting those wish lists to sales over time. The more wish lists a game launches with, the more likelihood of the launch going well, hitting that critical mass to gain attention and help it break out of the 1,000+ new games that launch every month on Steam. There are almost 19,000 new games on Steam last year, and the wish list also indicates some general sense of how well the game could sell over time, which also helps with long-term planning. The system is very core to how Steam works, as every launcher or sale is an opportunity to ping the wishlister with a reminder to buy the game. So we really need to be able to use this system as we build towards early access launch of Black Frost. But the wishlist system only works if we can talk about our work, share it, and get new people excited about it. So definitely, if you're at all interested in Black Frost, I would request that you go and wishlist it on Steam, even if you don't plan to buy it right away. Even if you don't plan to buy it right away, at least wishlist it, because like they said, that gives them an idea of the potential of how many copies they could sell. And even if you don't intend to buy it right away or play the beta or whatever, it at least shows them that, hey, you're interested in the game. And maybe if it goes on sale, you'll buy it or whatever, but at least it gives them an idea. So I would highly recommend you go and wishlist the game and at least show that you're interested in it. We know some of you are unhappy to see us announce Black Frost before we completed the Long Dark. I don't know. I mean, honestly, there will always be people who are unhappy with whatever. You can't make 100% of the people happy all the time. But I wasn't unhappy to see them announce Black Frost. I thought it was a logical move for them. I really did. As you've been waiting a long time for Episode 5. But if we have to wait until shipping Episode 5 before we talk about our other work, our revenue would simply run dry before we get to the Black Frost launch, which would be a pretty serious problem for us. Our current plan is to launch Black Frost in early access about a year after we ship the Long Dark. We think that is a good amount of time to create space between the two games. So, 2027. Hey, Demon Dark, how you doing? I'm doing okay. It's been a rough April. But here's to a better May. April showers bring May flowers. There we go. So it looks like 2027 before we'll be seeing it. End of 2026, early 2027. I understand the sentiment that we owe you Episode 5 and that we have yet to deliver. And I get that you've waited a long time for it. We will be shipping it this year and the game will be finished. I know it's been frustrating. I'm not trying to minimize or ignore any of those feelings. I'm not making excuses, and we take our responsibility to you very seriously. I'll minimize feelings for him. I don't care about Episode 5. Ultimately. I'm going to be happy that it's out, but I don't care about Episode 5. I care about survival. So for those who are just like, Episode 5 is the most important thing in the world, and you're mad that it's not out, tough. I'll be the dick that he can't be. Episode 5, for the people who whine about it not being out, it's like, yeah, I get it, but it's not the important thing to me. Survival's more important to me. It really, truly is. I think that's another Anora. I think that's another thing again, that goes back to the continuing theme is the communication part. I think the trailer for Black Frost would have been better, and it probably would have not. I think it would have. I think it would have gone over better. Hear me out here. If they had done something along the line at the very beginning of the trailer, they had done some cinematic thing about, the long dark is not ending. The long dark is coming to an end, but that does not mean the quiet apocalypse has ended. And they had sort of ramped it up like that, and sort of said, episode 5 is releasing soon, which will bring a close to the long dark, but we have this next thing coming. Or doing some sort of marketing along the line of it transferring over to Black Frost. I think they should have done something that communicated it a little bit better, that hey, we are putting all of our effort behind Wintermute and getting episode 5 out, and this is our next project. It doesn't, because the long dark is coming to a close, the quiet apocalypse is going to continue in Black Frost. Something along those lines. And again, it just comes back to communication. They're not the best at communicating to the public a lot of times. So, I also know that we've been afraid to share any of our work outside of Long Dark for fear of alienating or angering players who can sometimes be quite hostile. And this is... Oh... Yes, I wish... I don't know. Yes, there are some players who can be quite hostile. I would say that if you had to put a percentage of the number of players that are quote-unquote hostile, what would you think that percentage would actually be? I'd say it's probably under 10%. Sure, are they loud? Yeah, they're very loud. They're very loud. But I would say the actual hostile players, like people who are actually hostile and angry, 85% Valkyrie. I'd say it's at least 10% or less. Most of us are pretty chill. I mean, that's the thing, is most Long Dark players that I know are pretty freaking chill. Most aren't hostile, they're just disappointed. I think again, Honora, it comes back to communication. Most of them aren't hostile. They're just asking reasonable questions for why things are happening. They're like, well, when is it going to be out? We're disappointed that it's not ready yet. It's mostly disappointment and a little bit of frustration. I don't see a lot of people just getting on there going, you suck and your game's horrible and god damn it, you guys are... So most of the time I just see people going, yeah, gosh, I just really wish they'd get episode 5 out earlier. If that's counted as hostile, take a chill pill, Raph. It's not hostile. Most people are not hostile. And most of the responses, I don't see it like that. The most don't respond or comment to them, so they see the hostile ones more than... yeah, because they are very vocal. That is true. That is true. The hostile ones are very vocal. I'm asking you to be patient, as so many of you have been, and give us the space to talk about Black Frost without pushing other fans out of the community or attacking the dev team or studio. There's no Black Frost without Long Dark, but the opposite will also become true. After episode 5, there's no Long Dark without Black Frost. The project's combined futures and their roadmaps are intertwined. And someday, we may even talk about another TLD BF projects. We hope we can be open with you and share our excitement about some of these things, knowing that even if you can't feel excited about it with us, that you leave some space for other fans to be happy and excited. We're all here because we love the game, and we want for Hinterland to be more than just the Long Dark. We hope that you can come to care about our team and studio and all the things that we hope to make in the future. Not just the game you're playing right now, so please let's together make sure we create a safe and positive space for the long... Yeah, let's have a safe space. No, we just... Yeah, they listen to the one... I know, Country Roads, that's the thing. They need to stop listening to the 1%. If I had two key points of advice for Hinterland, and I'm not any expert in this, My 2 key points of advice is stop listening to the 1% and learn to communicate just a little bit better with people. Just learn to communicate with your audience a little bit better about what's going on. I always come from the standpoint that more information is always better than less information. The less information you give, people tend to speculate and sort of make up their own headcanon for what's happening. And 90% of the time it's wrong. And usually when we make up stuff in our head that's happening, it's going to be more along a negative line than a positive line. Because we tend to, as humans, kind of look at, we tend to criticize and kind of look at the world a little more through a negative lens if we don't know what's going on. Where as long as we know what's going on, we can rationalize and we can figure it out. And whether we like it or not is all, it's all relative. It doesn't really matter because at least we know. And then we can discuss and talk about what it is and actually have a reasonable conversation about it, whether we like it or not. But when we don't know, then we tend to make up a story in our head of what's going on, and generally it leads to negative connotations about what's going on. So I have always thought that more information is better than less. And I wish they would give us more information about Black Frost. I think the more information they give us about Black Frost, the more receptive people are going to be with it. Yes, there will be the few negative Nancy people out there like, you still haven't got episode 5 done. It's like, just go, it's at that point I just go, look at April Dev Diary. That's when it's coming out. It's done, But yeah, more information is always better than less. Hey, Jordo, how's it going? We hope you can come to care about our team, blah, blah, blah. I'd like to be able to start sharing more about Black Frost info in future Dev Diaries. If that's going to be triggering for you while you wait for episode 5, I suggest you skip Dev Diaries until episode 5 ships. And then stuff like that, I honestly just don't think need to be said. That's sort of like, if you don't like my politics and don't buy my books, it's like, just say, hey, we're going to start sharing more information about Black Frost in the future. I hope that you'll be as excited as I am about it. That's all they need to say. That's all they need to say. It's just poor messaging, I think. I think saying stuff like that just doesn't serve a purpose. We have to be able to share our work in order to make games we want and run the studio we want to run it. I hope you understand and will support us. There you go. That's a good statement. If you want to support Hinterland, please consider wish list. Oh, and there's even a link for wish listing Black Frost right there, so you can do that. GOG and Wii Game. If you've been playing Long Dark on Tencent's Wii Game platform, we want to let you know that soon the game will be updated to have parity with Steam and Epic Game Store and full update product structure. All right, some of you also asked that we bring the game back to GOG. We've been working with the business team at GOG and are close to finalizing an agreement to bring the game to the store. As with Wii Game, anyone who previously owned Long Dark will automatically be updated to the latest version with the option to purchase Tales if you wish. I want to be clear, the agreement isn't yet finished. We're still working through details. Just buy it on Steam. Hey, Master, how you doing? And Mac McKinsey, how's it going? Hello, hello. The Travois. Travois, yes. Steam deep discount as a final note star. Okay, that already happened. Yep. They did a big deep discount on the game, which was really nice. That's pretty much it for the Dev Diary. Thanks for reading. Hope you found information useful. There's the forums you can go to. And that's pretty much it. I liked a lot of the stuff they had to say. I think a lot of it was really good. As I said, I hope they give us more information about Black Frost. I think the more information about Black Frost they give us, the better. Just to create, you want to create excitement around your next project. And maybe every time they do that, they need to say, hey, We're creating excitement for our next project. Episode 5 is still our most important thing. We wanted to show you some cool stuff about what we're planning with Black Frost. They just need to keep reiterating episode 5, episode 5. For the people who are mad about it, they just need to keep reiterating how they are concentrating on that, and that's still the most important thing to them. So, anyway, that will bring us to the close of looking at the dev diary. Thank you all for hanging with me for that. And yeah, if you're on, oh, by the way, if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about the dev diary. Even if you disagree with me, I love it. I don't mind at all. Just don't be mean. Don't be mean. Don't be hostile. Don't be hostile. But thanks so much for watching on the YouTube side.